Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My question for you today is, are you thinking of starting a business, or you have started a business, but you want to grow that business into a thriving multi-six-figure, seven-figure business? Well, today's your day, because Sandra Kemayou is going to talk to us, and she has coached over 1,000 different women on how to scale and start their business. And so my name is Charisse Walker, your host. And Sandra, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, Charisse. Thank you so much for having me on your amazing podcast. Hi, guys. My name is Sandra Kemayou. And like Charisse said, I've been for the past 7 years helping the woman who knows they have a dream inside of them, but they just can't figure out how to take that dream into something that's going to be profitable. They usually make the call and we work together to help them turn their passion into profit. So I'm excited about our conversation today.
See, I love that, because this whole podcast, and we were talking before we started, is I started just because I wanted to help women like I was in a certain situation several years ago, feeling like, what do I want to do that brings me joy? And how can I monetize that into something? And even this podcast, we were talking, it's been about a year and a half. And now I'm starting to okay, I'm not doing it just for me. I want people to hear it, because I have amazing women like you that come on that can learn so much from you. And so how did you get into your business?
Oh, that's a good question. So I feel like coaching found me. I was always the kid that was like wiser beyond her years, and like people would come to me and tell me their whole life story always. And so I have a vivid memory of being 8 years old and having a friend in the neighborhood that her parents was going through a divorce. By the way, I'm from Cameroon originally. And I remember telling her, just lay down on my couch and just breathe. And talk to me. And I remember her leaving the house like a new person. Like she was just so excited and happy. And I was like, I want to do that thing for the rest of my life. And obviously, I didn't know what coaching was. It wasn't really a thing in Cameroon at the time. I had never met a coach. And it wasn't until years later I put together a retreat. I was putting together these women retreats, and one of the speakers said to me, like, oh my God, you're a coach. I was like, huh? And so she said to me, like, people make a lot of money doing what you're doing here naturally. You should look into it. And from that moment, that light bulb just opened up, and I was like, wait, I could get paid for this stuff, or just being myself, like who I've always been, and bring value to the world at the same time. I want to figure that out.
But that's not how you started, right? You went to college, you got your degrees, and you went through that career path, right? And then
Yes,
you pivoted.
yes. Yes, absolutely. So in between that, I've always had a side hustle thing, side business. I've started a bunch of businesses, but yes, I went to school, got my master in psychology, worked in the mental health field for like 10 years. And then I was like, okay, I need to make money. Because for the people listening that know, like, there's no money. And they tell you this, that like when you become a social worker, all that stuff, they tell you like, you're not here for the money. You're here to help the people. And I was like, okay, now I want to help myself. And so I pivoted into becoming a business analyst, project manager, and loved it. And did that for about 5 years. So that's where I learned some of like what I would say my hardcore real business skills was in the boardroom, where I realized like, okay, wait a minute, I could actually combine my love for mindset, because that's when I did that retreat. It was like a mindset retreat, but also my passion for business, because I tell my clients, for me, there's no real freedom if you don't have financial freedom. And I think that for the women that are listening to us, they can resonate with that. Like, I can be free, but if I have to ask somebody to buy a purse or a pad or like whatever, that I don't really have freedom. Mm-hmm. And so it was when I worked in corporate America that I had that conversation with the lady who said to me at the retreat, like, you should be a coach. And it became the journey of like, what type of coach? How do I take all of the things, life experiences, work experiences, and turn all of that into something? And so I landed into business coaching, but differently, right? Because I'm the business coach that's also going to help you work on your mindset, because the two go hand in hand. So yes, that's part of the story.
So how did you find your first clients? What'd you do?
So my first client was actually the lady at the retreat. So when she said that, and part of what she was talking to us about at that retreat was how overwhelmed she was with her business. And she was so successful. Somebody I was looking up to, right? Which is why she was one of the speakers at the retreat. And so she was talking about how, like, she described it as a pressure cooker. She's like, Sandra, they keep calling. I'm like, who is they? She's like, the clients. I'm like, the problem is what? Because to me, there's never a problem if money is calling you. And she was like, it's so overwhelming. I don't have the structure into place. I don't have a website. I had a website. I'm trying to rebuild. Like it was a bunch of stuff that to me, I was doing that at work anyway for like $1 million projects. And I was like, I can help you. But since you said I should become a coach in exchange of our work, I'm not going to charge you because I don't even know what to charge. But I will need a really great testimonial from you. And we need to take it seriously. Like I need to send you a contract. I want us to treat this like a serious thing. And so she became my first unpaid client at the time. And that's the advice I will give people too, is a lot of the time you want paid clients, but you need to like flex your muscle. You need to practice, right? In a format that feels like the same as, because yeah, you're giving advice here and there to your friends and family, but it's not the same thing, is it? As like actually sitting down and creating a roadmap for your potential client to lead them to a success. So I believe that confidence comes with mastery. And so for me, my first few clients were free. But I also tell my clients now, that's not an excuse for you to never monetize. There needs to be a start date and an end date where you're like, okay, I'm practicing, I'm learning, but at this date, I'm going to start charging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I love that you did that because there's a lot of people that they don't know what the heck they're doing. They charge a ridiculous amount of money. There's no system or process set up. And then the people that they're helping, it didn't work. And so now they're out earning a ridiculous amount of money, speaking from
Yes.
experience. And they're bitter and they're angry and they don't want to even talk to that person or see them ever again. And so, um, but if you're starting out and you're providing value, you're improving yourself and they're getting testimonials, like it's a win-win situation because they're giving you feedback like, yeah, that's working, no, that's not. And then you can charge once it's a proven system. So that's
So, and
good.
with confidence, right? You don't feel like an imposter. A lot of people
Yeah.
talk about feeling this whole imposter syndrome thing. And I say to myself, like, a little bit of it makes sense, I guess, because it gives you the edge. It makes you always prepare and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, but what is it rooted in? Because if you know what you're doing, because you are doing it every single day, whether you, and I tell clients, don't wait, again, don't wait to have a paid client. Practice your stuff. I've done it in the mirror. I've practiced in front of the mirror. I've practiced for my kid. Yo, sit down and let's role play this stuff. Like really practice with expectation because confidence will only come with mastery. A lot of the time, a lot of people teach you to fake it until you make it, which then you're charging this crazy amount of money. You don't feel confident. You don't know what you don't know, and you are messing up your reputation in the long term and the long run. Because believe it or not, if you work with 10 clients back to back to back and nobody has results, it does something to you.
Yeah.
It really does, right? So you are messing up your own future by not taking the time to prepare yourself. Again, I'm not saying that because I've also met clients who have been preparing for 10 years. Like that's procrastination, that's fear. So we need to have an end date for this trial preparation period and being honest. Right? Like even when you start taking money and stuff, telling clients like, listen, you are my first paid client. But here's where I might be new to the coaching world, but I'm not new to business. For example, in my story, I was coming in with a business analyst background with millions of dollars budget that I was managing and hundreds of team members, right, at my 9 to 5. So I think it's also important for the people listening to understand that just because you're starting a new business doesn't mean you don't bring your resume with you and knowing how to pull that experience. And it doesn't have to be even work experience. It could be life experience, right? I've been married for 20 years. So yes, I may not have a lot of other testimonials from other, but I'm a testimonial, right? I've had this marriage for 20 years. We are happy. We are smiling. Like, don't dismiss the power of your own story and how relatable that is. And by being honest, how much people will say, you know what, I'd rather work with you than work with somebody else who might be jaded or who I might not have as much access to because they have 1,000 reviews under their name. So I won't work with them one-on-one. So I'll take a chance on you because it's going to be this thing where you care more because I'm your first or your second. So leading with authenticity and knowing how to bring that information, like bring your story with you when you're building your business, I think is critical.
I love what you said, but I got to be honest, I can't get over the fact that you said you've been married for 20 years because you look like you're like in your
Not
young
me.
20s.
No, no, not me. I've been married for 16 years. I was giving an example.
Still,
I've been married for
no,
16. Not
but still, you look so young. And so I'm like, what? How old is she?
you. Thank
I was
you.
totally
I got married
saying,
young. I got married young too, to be fair. I got married at like 21. So yes.
and you say,
Yeah.
I got married at 19. So that's
Oh,
young.
see? See?
No, still not married to that person, married to a different person, but yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the business side. How do you tell when you're coaching people, how do you help them set their business up so that they have the systems in place so that they can then move to the next stage?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we are probably one of the few, I would say, companies, coaching companies that build everything for our clients in terms of systems. We didn't start that way. We started doing what everybody does, which is I'll show you how to do it. So if I tell you you need a funnel, you're watching a video of me building a funnel and then you copy it, right? That's the typical coaching industry group coaching format. And then I had a client of mine, Nicole, who got so frustrated watching the video. And I think I'm a good teacher, right? But she got so frustrated that she broke her screen of her laptop. And
Oh,
when she told me that, I was like, okay, like, wait, what? Like, you got that mad? She said, yes, because she couldn't figure it out. And I said, that makes sense. You wanting to be a coach, not a funnel builder, not a marketer. Like, that's not what you wanting to do. And so, although that might come easy to me or my team, this might be, I don't want that to be the reason why you don't actually go and become a coach or become an entrepreneur and create the impact you were meant to create. We can do it. It's fun for us. My team can do it. And so we build the whole, they don't have to touch a single system at all when they work with us. We build it. And I also believe that if you don't have automation, you don't have a business, you have a job.
mhm.
And so a lot of people are building these things that are going to exhaust them. And
Yeah.
I really believe in building something that outlasts you, something that you can pass down. But when we're talking about outlasting you, it needs to outlast you being sick for 2 weeks. Like most people have businesses where they can't even be sick for 2 weeks, not
Mhm.
even a week, because everything is in their head, everything is manual. And to me, that's not a business. And so we build out automation because to me, that's what takes me from a hobby to like I have a real thing, right? And so yeah, we build it.
I love that. And I'm laughing out of frustration because I went on vacation. I started building one of my funnels, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this done because I'm wearing this bracelet. And until I do what I said I was going to do, I'm not taking it off. And
Oh
it's been a
wow.
couple months, right? And quite frankly, I haven't done anything. And that's why I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I got to do it. So that's why I'm doing this. So I build this funnel. I have almost everything done. It's on a tab. As entrepreneurs, you have like 20,000
Yeah.
tabs
Yeah,
open.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Is one of the tabs. I didn't press save. I had almost built the entire thing out. I go today, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish this bad boy. It didn't save. And so
What
I'm like,
tool do you use? What tool was that?
it was ClickFunnels. So yeah.
Oh,
And so like I mean, and it's even the pre thing. All I have to do is insert my stuff. But so I mean, it's not like from scratch, but now I have to
yeah.
reinsert. So at least everything was uploaded. So now I just have to go. But I'm like, so
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I didn't punch my screen, but I'm just like, dang it. Now I gotta do it again. I don't have time. I've already taken the time. So all you listeners, if they're doing it for you, honestly, that's one of the few programs and coaches. Like I hired someone years ago, and yes, they showed me how to do it all, but I didn't do anything with it because of this one step. It's the hiccup that many people they don't think, okay, well, I do want to be a coach, but there's so many steps behind the scenes that go into it. And most people they're not competent and they lose interest because of the ADD,
Yeah.
the
And
entrepreneur.
all the other things like the kids and life, and you already have fear, you're doubting yourself. Is it the right picture? I don't like the font. It's all of that stuff
Yeah.
that stands in the way. Maybe if it was like somebody else funnel, it could be faster,
Right.
right? But somehow when it's our stuff, we become so critical. And so it's the many versions. I've talked to so many people that tell me I'm still working on my website. How long has it been? 3 years. What?
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah.
It's true. That is totally the hang up. And so what you've done is I actually was thinking about that because I'm like, okay, that needs to be another business because I don't have enough. But that if I just do the done for you part of it, I mean, I could be blow it up and be a multimillionaire just because people don't
Yes,
want to have to worry about that step. So yeah,
that's true.
crazy. Okay, what's the next step that you recommend? The done for you part, that's good. But what are some of the other things that people starting their business they should know?
Got it. So I have what I call the five pillar method. And so that five things, because it gets very overwhelming on the internet about all the things you're supposed to do. And I tell my clients until you hit 100,000,
Mhm.
here are the five things. The first thing is your niche, right? Like who are you serving? Who are you called to serve? And not just like women aged 20 to 30. No, more than that. Like that's vague. We need to get very specific. So that's the first thing. The second thing is your brand. But I approach branding a little bit differently because I think to myself, if you're brand new and you want to outbrand a Tony Robbins or a Lisa Nicole, well, you don't have enough money. But the place where you can really compete is with your brand story
Yeah.
because nobody else has your story. So I love to approach branding from a perspective of like, what's your brand story? Again, what we talked about, like, what makes you so unique? The story of the 8-year-old kid. Nobody else has that story. Like, who is 8 and asking people to lay down, right? And so Tony Robbins can't fight me on that at all.
Yeah.
And it levels the playing field because we all have stories. And so figuring out what your brand story is going to be your edge. Although you don't have the millions for marketing, although you may just be new and don't have all those testimonials, that become your edge. So helping you build your brand story, and then we'll do the website and the logo and the social media stuff. But your brand story is key. The third thing is creating your offer. What are you offering? And what's the price point for what you offer? So many women, we undercharge. And we undercharge because we think, well, I'm making $40 an hour at my job. So if I charge 50 or 45 or $10 more, I'm golden. Well, no, because you still have to pay for the systems, you have to pay for your marketing, and clients don't always come. Like you have to price properly where you can actually have the life that you want to live, right? You're not living this 9 to 5 so that you can struggle with your business,
Yeah.
I think, right? For most of my clients. So creating the offer. So is that a course? Is that one-on-one coaching? Is it retreats? What is it? So helping you create it, package it, be able to present it in a way that your audience will understand and charge properly for it. So I call that the foundation. So 1, 2, 3, your niche, your brand story, and then your offer. That's what nobody sees,
Yeah.
right? Unsexy work, but the needed work. And then the last two is what I call showtime. That's your marketing and your sales. So how are we going to market this? A lot of people are scared to spend money on marketing. I don't understand because people will spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 hiring a coach, but then won't want to spend $1,000 on ads or
Yeah.
even $150 on the software to run their business. And
Mhm.
I'm like, how does that make sense to you? Like you have to market. Some people are really good at organic marketing. Most of my clients are not. Most
Mhm.
of the women that come my way are introverted women that have this quiet, powerful, giant thing about themselves. And they're not the ones saying, hey guys, this is me. I'm on a podcast. Like that's just not the women that we work with, right? There are women that are serious about creating impact, that's super smart. But the whole like free marketing thing, not their superpower. Plus, when you are new, trying to come up with different content when you are brand new is very difficult. So I'm a proponent of paid marketing because I tell people if you want to go fast, run some ads. Okay. So paid marketing, and then we support it with some organic strategies. But then it's not overwhelming. You can start your business while you're still working your 9 to 5 that way. So marketing, figuring out the marketing strategy. And the last thing is sales. Nothing happens until you sell something. And so I've worked with people that have 1, 2, 3, and 4, but then they don't know how to sell. Just coach a client last week who had everything else. She had the website, she was doing retreats, all the things, but selling. So we had to teach her, we have a sales blueprint, and we had to walk her through that role play and help her, even with the pitch and the opening and all that stuff, because most of the women I talk to, selling is not their superpower at all because we've not been taught
Yeah.
how to do it. So those are the 5 things, the 5 steps that we walk our clients through.
I love that. I was talking with someone yesterday and she's super successful, $100 million+
Nice.
in her business, done several different things. So she's been doing it a while. So she has a list, she has the organic and stuff. And I said, oh, she goes, we're launching and tomorrow's the pitch. And I said, oh, okay. How many people have come to your webinar? She goes, well, we had 14,000 people sign up. And I said, okay,
Wow.
he actually came. She goes, only 1,000. And
Mhm.
listeners, you got to understand, it's all about the numbers. You got to get people
Yes.
with them. And out of that 1,000, and
Mm-hmm.
probably 200 will finish off on the third
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing was, she goes, I spent $60,000 to get those 14,000 people sign up. And first of all, you now have their emails. And so that's
Yes.
a good thing. But
Yes.
it's somebody, my point is somebody who has sold over $100 million worth of, like, plus, maybe it's 200 by now. I don't know. It's
Yes.
a lot. She still spent
Mhm.
that kind of money to get a new list
Yes.
and new
Yes.
people. And so
Yes.
that's the part that I think we always have to be thinking is, even though you have this, you continually have to invest so that you can actually get more people and get the people that you need that are for you. So yeah,
Mhm.
investing, and I love that as well. It's because there are perspectives. People will spend 25, 30, $50,000, $200,000 on coaching, and you're right. They don't want to spend $150 to get this product done or to do ads.
Oh, wait, what? Like how? This must be I said, all it costs you to run your business. And we have a one size fit all kind of tool where like you run your whole thing with just one tool. Um, I used to need six. I had ClickFunnels. I'm not gonna name all of them, but I six different tools. It was costing me almost $1,000.
Yeah.
One tool for $150, and we set it up for you, and you want to fight. This is the hill you're gonna fight. Like this is the thing. Come on, like no, but it happens. And I think maybe it's a mindset thing. Maybe it's a thing of like, holy cow, like I'm here. Like when there's so many steps,
Yeah.
it's one thing. But
Mhm.
then it's like, whoa, like there's nothing standing in the way now. I got to self-sabotage to let me hang on something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hang on this 150 thing or like this $1,000 on marketing. That's going to be the thing because I can't be honest and say, I'm terrified. And
Yeah.
I've always been terrified. And it was easier to say it was the wrong coaching program. It was easier to blame my unsupported family. It was all the things. And you've removed all the things. I got to pick something else because it cannot be 150. Like I look, I'm like,
Oh, that's,
yeah.
yeah. It's so interesting. I love that. So, how do you help people pass that, the mindset part, where they might not recognize that they are self-sabotaging and they're afraid to take the next step because of the success that's waiting on the other side of that door?
So what we've done, because I used to be like, well, listen, it's life because most people, not most, but a lot of people that will start, and I say this to all coaches because sometimes as a coach, you you take the success of your clients as yours, right? Like that's where you have the testimonials. And you also can take their failure as yours. Like the good coaches end up like, is this something I did? We do that sometimes. And so I had to tell myself, well, look at schools. Like the number of people that start at Yale is not all that complete, right? Like all of us start in January, we want to go to the gym, and then 2 weeks later we quit. So people do quit on themselves. And so some people will quit in your program. That's life. However, what we started doing recently that has really worked well for us is actually having a graduation party for our clients.
Nice.
Well, as before, the program is 90 days. Once you're done, you're done. Congratulations. Bye, right? You either stay with us or bye. What we did now is when you join, we pick a graduation date. And everybody in the company is aware of that graduation date, and we work towards the graduation date. A week before graduation, we send you an email. You get to invite your family. We send you a gift, and it's a cap and a little surprise, and it's the whole thing. We get on Zoom. The team is there. Last week, we had somebody bring her husband and her daughter, and they wear their cap, and it's the whole thing. And we have like a video snippet of where they started, all the things they've accomplished, because all the calls are recorded and everything they've done up to this point. We've seen that by doing that, we went from a completion rate of like 40% to 100%.
Wow.
Because I work with high achieving women. So,
Yeah.
if you give us a date, And you meet at an appointment where other people, we might not show up for ourselves. But like you mean to tell me that other people coming will show up for others, right? And so we find that it makes it so much more difficult for them to give up after the program because now the husband is saying, babe, I'm so proud of you. So like now it's like this pressure, good pressure to not just graduate, but now you're accountable to doing something with that. And that has been such a game. I wish we had thought of this 7 years ago, but that has been such a game changer for my clients and our business.
I love that. I used to teach college, and I would teach them like there was eight, well, they're not semesters, terms, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Quarters. That's what they were called. And so the first quarter, I would teach them all about life skills, introduction, how to study. And then,
Mm-hmm.
throughout there, I teach them English. I teach them sociology. I teach them, like, I taught 7 different classes. And then the very last one was this graduation type, get your resume done, interviewing,
Yeah.
like, here you go, here's your portfolio.
Yes.
And I remember, like, my very first class, I would say, I want you to look to your left. I want you to look to your right. One of you will graduate statistically. Like, if you were to go to a
Mm.
traditional university, it's a 30%. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm not telling you that to discourage you. I'm telling you that to encourage you so that you can actually decide for yourself, I'm going to finish this class. And I will
Yes.
tell you, in that class, I had 100% completion every single time. And so I think that it's making sure that people believe in themselves and yes,
Yes.
encourage each other. Like, let's get together, let's talk, let's
Yes.
do all this
Yes.
stuff. Now, when they went to other quarters, I can't speak to that as much, but
Yeah.
that class I had 100% retention all the time. And
That's amazing.
but that's to your point. It's that making sure that people can understand. I don't want to be that 30% or that
Yes.
60% basically, or
Mm-hmm.
67%. I want to be the ones that finish. And
Yes.
success, once you start doing that, like the little wins and the little wins, you start to grow
Yes.
confidence. Whereas if you do
Yes.
it by yourself, speaking from experience, and you're like, dang, I didn't finish that, or dang, I didn't do
Yes.
that. Now I'm just
Yes.
a loser.
Yes. Yes, and you are so right. Oh my gosh, like that, you remind me of when I decided, you know what, I'm tired of talking about starting a business. Like I'm tired of talking about it. I don't want to do that anymore. Every year, like I'm put that on a vision board. I was like, I'm so tired of it. And so I remember did that. I felt like, well, Sandra, you always start stuff, but you don't complete them. So whatever. This is gonna be another thing you start and you don't complete. And I remember talking to God and say like, "Oh, I need help. Like I need to figure this thing out. Like give me something because I want my business to pop." And he said to me, I need you to walk. The only thing I'm going to ask you to do is I need you to walk every morning. I'm like, first of all, that has nothing to do with funnels, has nothing to do with social media. I'm not going to find my clients at 6 a.m. walking. This makes no sense. Okay. But I was like, let me be obedient. And what I realized, because I hate working out.
Yeah.
So what I realized every day for like 9 months, all the thoughts around, well, did he really say walk every day? It's kind of cold. Who walks when it's raining? Like it's raining. God wouldn't want to, like all the things,
Mhm.
I will hear it every morning and I have to overcome it every morning and walk. And what I realized was, and at some point he said to me, like, I'm not going to trust you with a 7-figure business if I can't even trust you to say no to a piece of chocolate. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so I love that you share that part of the rewiring is rewiring the way we see ourselves, whether it's them just showing up every week for these calls or working towards that graduation date and showing up for that. That's really the big part because the rest of the things, okay, sure, whatever, the funnel, the thing, those things can be, you can throw money at those things, right? Like you got enough money, you can hire somebody to do your website, you can hire all the things, but it's who you're becoming in the process. That's the real gift of entrepreneurship, I find, is who you're becoming in the process.
Yeah.
That nobody can take away from you, that even if this business doesn't work, you can pivot,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I've loved so much about this work and just watching the women I work with blossom.
It's interesting because I was writing this book, and when I was writing it, I don't remember how it was, but it was talking about running a marathon, getting ready to
Mm,
marathon. And I had always had this goal. By the time I turned 50, there's a few things I wanted to accomplish. One of them was running a marathon, and I kept putting it off and putting it off
yeah.
for valid reasons, pregnant, broken feet,
Yep.
valid
Mhm.
reasons,
Yeah.
surgeries. But last year I just had a surgery, pretty major surgery, and
Mm,
it was 6 weeks of bed rest. And I'm like, this is impeding. I'm going to be turning 50 this year. I have got to run this marathon. So
Mhm.
6 weeks, like he's like, you got to be in bed for 6 weeks. Okay, like week 6, I was done. I started walking.
Wow.
And I did this program where I would walk because I hadn't run for 7 years because of all my stinking surgeries or babies and or broken feet. And so I just started walking and it's like, okay, now run for 30 seconds. Okay, I can do
Mm.
that. Okay, now run for a minute and a half. And so, I mean, it was this whole program, but I was like determined and I ran my 10K and all of a sudden I had horrible shin splints to the point I thought, well, I actually almost fractured both of my shins. I did.
Oh
It
my
was a
God.
stage 2, well, it was a stage 3 at the time. And so stage 4 is they're broken.
Oh
And
wow.
so I had to take some time off. I'm like, this is not working. I got to run this marathon. And so when I was in physical therapy, the physical therapist is like, Charisse, don't train. Just go do it. What?
Oh wow.
And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, that is the stupidest advice a physical therapist can ever give a patient is don't
Yeah.
train for a marathon.
Train, just do it.
So anyway, long story short, I had to take off another 2 months. So I finally, like I'd started running and I think I got to like 6 miles. Actually, it was 4 miles, 4 miles. And I was starting to hurt again after being 2 months off. And I'm like, he's right. I should just go do it. And so I did. I looked online and I'm like, marathon. And I started researching which ones. And there's one that was like from a mile, it was almost a mile in elevation going down. I signed up and I told my husband, in 2 weeks, I'm running this marathon. He's like, what? And I did. I ran it. I finished it, not in the greatest of time, but I finished it in the time that I
Wow.
needed to finish it. And it was like an
Wow.
incredibly emotional experience, but my point was that sometimes you just have to do it. And you can
Mm.
start to prepare or you can start to try to do stuff and go, okay, okay, okay. But I was 50 years old. I set that goal when I was, I think, 19 or 20.
Oh
30
wow.
years, I couldn't
Yeah, yeah.
run a marathon. And so it was right at the end, like my birthday was in November, so I ran it in September, just in case I couldn't finish, I
Wow.
could do it again in November.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
but that's the point is like you have to have a goal, you have to have an endpoint, you have to have a vision. And if you can do that, then you can accomplish the goal. And I was gonna die trying. And my husband, he's like, Sharice, there's no way I could have ever done what you did. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
You're like an inspiration. And sorry, it was an emotional
Oh.
experience, but the thing is that like there's so many times that we can come up with excuse after excuse. And I had valid excuses every single time. But the difference is, are you going to make that continue to make an excuse, or are you just going to say, forget it, I'm just going to do it? And that's the part that with as we as women we tend to put ourselves in the back burner, whether because we have
Yes.
kids or because of our business or
Mhm.
because of our family or you know, it doesn't matter, or because of our job. And so that's the part that this whole mission, the goal of this podcast is like, are you really happy with your life? Are you at peace with what you're doing with your life? And if you're not, then it's time to wake up and find that passion and what like that purpose that we're supposed to be doing. And I love your story about God told you to just start walking.
Mhm.
Because if we really take the time to listen, he will guide us where we're supposed to go. But that's the key is we have to listen and then we have to act because there are many times like my husband
Mhm.
lost his job last summer and I'm like, shoot,
Mhm.
God's trying to tell me like it's time to get started with what I want to
Mhm.
do. And it's like, well, I'm not ready. And so my husband got another job. I'm like, phew, I'm off the hook, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is, I'm not because the women that I'm supposed
Yes.
to be teaching, and actually it's not just women, but the people I'm supposed to be reaching, I'm not like fulfilling that God-given purpose that he's like, I'm on this earth to do is my belief. And so I love that you have helped so many women and you're helping them overcome the obstacles that are so easy to have so that they can accomplish what they're supposed to. So thank you for that.
Oh, and thank you so much for sharing. And like, I take with me what he said to you, the don't train, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't train, just go ahead and do it because that I mean, like, because yeah, I think what he was saying is the injuries you will sustain trying to train for this
He was.
when you could just do it.
Hmm.
And that's such a beautiful metaphor for life and business.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm stealing that. Watch your next podcast. That's
Yeah.
really powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm. And it is.
And congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's one of those things. Now I'm thinking I need to do it again, right? Because I got to beat my time. But at the end, I'm like, I'll never do this again. But it's kind of like having a baby,
The
right?
baby. Yep.
Then
Yep.
you're,
Every time. With my last one, I did a video though. I recorded a video right after I had the baby. I said, Sandra, in 3 years, you're going to start talking about you want a kid. Listen to me. You do not. It is a nightmare to go through pregnancy.
that's great.
And I sent it to my husband and I sent it to a few from like the minute I just forward me the video because we forget. Oh my gosh.
That's true. That's, I know I had to be wheeled out. I couldn't even walk for like ever after because of my, the crazy thing, my shins didn't hurt, my hips didn't hurt. It was actually my arches of my feet because my shoes, I think, were just too high of arches. And so, yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's on my list, but not I'm not serious about it. I have some things on my list that I know I'm not even serious about it.
Yeah. It's an incredible like experience mentally and then
I can
physically
imagine.
after. But I did way better with my marathon than I did the 10K that I ran when I was like 115 pounds and in great shape.
Wow.
So I wasn't hurting like I was that time where I couldn't even walk. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so I want to transition to being a mom because we're way over time, but what is one piece of advice that you would give a mother if imagine sitting on a park bench, she's 9 months pregnant, she comes and sits down next to you and you start talking to her. What is one piece of advice that you would give her? As in,
Ooh. Ooh. I would say what I tell myself now, which is that the report card won't come out until they're probably in their 30s.
yeah.
I think because I think it's important to have the long view when it comes to motherhood. There's a lot of stuff. Soft parenting is in now and it was this before and all that kind of stuff, right? And I say like take advice is fine, but I want to see the 30-year view. So if I'm taking advice from somebody who has a 3-year-old, let's wait until your baby is 33, right? And you're sitting in therapy to really find out whether or not this worked or not. Because as a new mom, people will share all this stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, you then start doubting your own intuition and voice. And I really believe that God trusted you with this child, you specifically with this child for a reason. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to people, and you shouldn't gather information, and you shouldn't all these things. But it's the same advice I have around business. Like if I'm going to take business advice from you, holistically, do you have the life I want?
Yeah.
So not just like, do you have the business I want? Because that's cool. But if you don't sleep at night and if like everything else fell apart in the process, do I want to pay that price? And so holistically, the person giving you the advice, sometimes it's your mother-in-law, and you're like, but I'm dealing with your son and I don't know. I want to take the advice. We're fixing some of the things, right? Some of the trauma, we're trying to fix it in our marriage now. And so I say really holistically look at it and say, fair point, but does it make sense for me? Is what I would say, because even now giving advice, I'm like, my report card is not out. My oldest is 17. Who knows? I'm thinking I'm doing great. Girl, we might be 20 years from now. He's like, you missed this and this and that and the others. I'm very wary to even ever really give advice because I'm like, none of us know
Yeah.
really truly. We know our intention. I know my heart. I know that I'm trying to do my best. But how that reads to them, I won't know for a while.
I love
Oh,
that. And that's
yeah,
true. That's true.
yeah.
Because you're
I
doing the
won't.
best that you can, and if you're teaching them those correct principles, and they're there, but they might be stupid and making some dumb, in my opinion, some dumb decisions. But in their
Mm-hmm.
opinion, that's the road that they need to be taking to be able to get to where they need to go. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, if our listeners wanted to find you, how would they do that?
Awesome. So if you wanted to find me, my website. So it's my first and last name, SandraKemayou.com, has all the information on how to find me on social media, the books, the coaching, all that stuff is housed under the website.
And that will be in the show notes as well. So we'll have that there. Well, Sam,
Thank you.
thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Charisse. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
No, it was great. And moms, Unbreakable Mompreneurs, I hope that you took some advice. For me, it was making sure that you're doing what you need to and like taking action and getting rid of the obstacles. And don't be afraid to spend some money to get where you need to go, especially if you've hired expensive coaches. So go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.